The Cursed Necklace of Valoria. It was the winter of 1691, and the small village of Valoria lay silent under a pale grey sky. The villagers worked hard every day, chopping wood, gathering herbs, or fishing in the cold river. But everyone knew one rule: never go to the northern woods after sunset. Strange lights and whispers had been reported for decades. Shadows moved in ways that did not belong to anything living. Most villagers laughed at these stories, but Ilara did not. She was young, brave, and curious. Superstitions had never frightened her. That afternoon, bundled in a thick cloak and boots dusted with snow, she decided to go deeper into the forest than ever before. She wanted rare winter herbs for her small home. The snow crunched under her feet as she walked, and the forest grew quieter. Birds no longer chirped. Even the wind seemed to pause. Her breath formed little clouds in the icy air, and her heart beat fast with excitement and nervousness. After some time she saw a fallen tree, larger than any she had seen before. Its roots twisted like the fingers of a giant. Beneath it, something unusual caught her eye: a small wooden box, half buried in the snow. The box was covered in frost, but strange symbols were carved into its lid, forming a circle around a shape that looked like an eye. Ilara knelt and brushed the snow away. She hesitated for only a moment before lifting the lid. Inside lay a necklace. It was a delicate silver chain holding a dark, oval-shaped stone. The stone pulsed softly, like it had a heartbeat of its own. Ilara reached out and touched it. The moment her fingers grazed the stone, warmth spread through her hand. Suddenly the forest seemed to shift. The shadows between the trees stretched and moved as if alive. For a fleeting moment, she thought she saw figures watching her from the darkness. But when she blinked, the forest appeared normal again. Ilara swallowed hard. She didn't know why, but the necklace felt like it wanted her to take it. Carefully, she placed it in her pocket and turned to walk back to the village. The walk home felt longer than usual. The trees seemed to whisper. Each step she took sounded too loud in the silent forest. When she finally reached the edge of the village, the sun was low, painting the snowy ground in soft orange and pink light. Ilara stopped and looked at the necklace again. The stone pulsed gently in her hand, and a strange whisper brushed against her mind. The bearer has returned. She shivered, unsure if the voice was real or imagined. That night, she sat by the small fireplace in her cottage, staring at the necklace. She noticed that the chain was impossibly smooth, almost as if it had never been touched by human hands. She couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she imagined the forest shadows moving, and the eye-shaped carving from the box appeared before her like it wanted to speak. Ilara didn't know it yet, but the necklace had chosen her, and once it chose, nothing could undo the bond. That night, Ilara could not sleep. The fire in her small cottage flickered and cast strange shadows on the walls. The snow outside had stopped falling, but the forest still whispered to her through the window. Every gust of wind sounded like a soft voice calling her name. She took the necklace from the table where she had carefully placed it. The dark stone glowed faintly, as if it had a pulse, a rhythm that matched her own heartbeat. She held it close, and a warmth spread through her fingers, reaching her arm and chest. Suddenly, her surroundings changed. The firelight faded, and she found herself standing in a place that was not her cottage. It was a castle, ancient, enormous, and burning. Smoke rose in thick black clouds, and the night sky glowed orange from the fire. People ran in the courtyard, screaming, but their faces were blurred as if she could not focus on them fully. In the center of the chaos, she saw a woman wearing the same necklace. The woman's eyes were wide with fear. She seemed to be looking directly at Elara, pleading silently. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Elara tried to speak. Who are you?" she whispered, but the voice did not return. The vision shifted. She saw shadows moving in the halls of the castle. They were tall, thin, and fluid, sliding along the walls, almost like living smoke. They reached for the woman, and she screamed silently again. Then, the stone in Elara's hand pulsed brighter, and another image appeared. A man, running through a dark forest, carrying a glowing stone in his hands. Shadows pursued him. He tripped, fell, and turned to face the darkness. In his eyes, Elara saw pure terror. The visions stopped as suddenly as they began. She blinked, and she was back in her cottage, the firelight warm and familiar again, but something felt wrong. Her hands shook, and she noticed a strange emptiness in her mind. She tried to remember walking to the cottage from the forest earlier that day, but the memory was gone. "Elara," she whispered to herself, "what is happening?" The necklace lay in her palm, glowing softly. She could feel it watching her, waiting. She realized then with growing fear that the necklace took something from her every time it showed visions. Small pieces of her life, her memories, were slipping away, almost unnoticed. Her heart pounded, and she wrapped the necklace in a cloth, hiding it away. Outside, the wind howled. The trees swayed as if alive, and a faint shadow seemed to pass her window. Elara sat down, hugging her knees, trying to remember everything she could. But some things were already gone, lost to the necklace forever. And she knew one terrifying truth. The necklace had chosen her. And once it chose, nothing could stop it. The next morning, the village of Valoria was quiet under a pale sun. Snow still covered the rooftops and the streets, but the villagers were starting their daily work. Elara, however, could not focus on her chores. Her mind was consumed by the necklace and the visions it had shown her the night before. She decided to visit Master Dorian, the village scholar and keeper of ancient knowledge. His house was on the edge of the village, near the river. The building looked like it belonged to another time. Walls lined with bookshelves, shelves filled with scrolls, and strange objects stacked in every corner. Candles burned everywhere, their smoke curling toward the ceiling. When Elara entered, she held the necklace carefully in her hands. "Master Dorian," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I found this in the forest. I think it's dangerous." Dorian looked up from a large book he was reading. His eyes widened as soon as he saw the necklace. He carefully stood and took the pendant into his hands, examining it under the candlelight. "Elara, where did you find this?" he asked, his voice low and serious. "Under a fallen tree, deep in the northern woods," she replied. Dorian's face turned pale. He sat down heavily, as if the weight of centuries had suddenly fallen upon him. He spoke in a whisper. "This is the Eye of Selvarin, a powerful and ancient artifact. It was created by a secret order more than 300 years ago. It can show visions of the past, present, and even the future. But..." He hesitated, looking at her with concern. "Every vision costs a memory. Every time you see the images, something is taken from you. Something real, something precious." Elara's stomach dropped. She tried to remember walking to the cottage that morning. Nothing. That memory had already vanished. Dorian continued, his hands shaking slightly as he held the necklace. "The eye chooses its bearer. Once it chooses, it binds itself to the person. And if the Order discovers that it has been found, they will come. They always come for what they believe belongs to them. Ilara swallowed hard. I don't understand, she whispered. Why me? Why now? Dorian shook his head slowly. Some objects choose people for reasons we may never understand. But you must know. Possessing the eye is not a blessing. It is a curse. You have already felt it. Every time it showed you visions, you lost a part of your life. Ilara looked down at the pendant. Its dark stone seemed to pulse in her hand, alive, almost aware of their conversation. The warmth it emitted felt dangerous, and yet strangely comforting. What should I do? She asked, her voice barely audible. Dorian's eyes were grave. Protect it, hide it, and find allies you can trust. The Order is patient, relentless, and cruel. They do not stop, and there are those who will serve them. Seekers, guardians corrupted by the power of the eye. If they find you, you may never escape. Ilara's heart raced. She could feel the cold reality of Dorian's words sinking in. Her life, once quiet and simple, had changed forever. Outside, the wind rattled the window panes. A shadow passed quickly across the snow. Ilara shivered, realizing she had become part of something much larger, older, and more dangerous than she could have imagined. She wrapped the necklace carefully in a soft cloth. The stone still glowed faintly, as if it had a pulse of its own. And deep inside, Ilara knew one terrifying truth. She was no longer just a villager. She was the bearer of the Eye of Selvarin, and the Order would come for her. That night, the wind howled across the rooftops of Valoria, rattling the small cottage where Ilara sat alone. Snow drifted against the windows, forming cold patterns on the glass. The fire in the hearth was small, flickering, and hardly warming the room. Ilara sat at the wooden table, the necklace in her hands. The stone pulsed softly, like a heartbeat, and warmth spread through her fingers. She hesitated for a moment, recalling Master Dorian's warning. Every vision costs a memory, but curiosity overcame fear. She touched the stone again. Immediately, her surroundings shifted. The firelight vanished. She was standing in a dark forest, different from the one she knew. Fog lay low over the ground. The trees were twisted, their branches reaching like claws. A man ran through the fog, clutching a glowing stone in his hands. Shadows moved behind him, fast, silent, and endless. He tripped over roots, stumbled, and looked back. His eyes were wide with terror. Ilara could feel his fear as if it were her own. Then, the vision changed. She saw a candlelit hall, with armored figures moving silently along the walls. In the center, a woman knelt before a pedestal. Her hands were trembling, and on her neck was the same necklace. Suddenly, the woman looked directly at Ilara. She mouthed words, but no sound came. The image felt painfully real. Ilara tried to respond. "Who are you?" she whispered. The vision ended instantly. She was back at the table, the fire weak, the snow outside quiet. Ilara shivered. Something was missing. She tried to remember walking through the forest that afternoon. The memory was gone, vanished as if it had never existed. She searched her mind for other small moments, but fragments of her day, even small conversations with neighbors, were blurred, lost. A chill ran through her spine. The necklace had taken more than she realized. Her hands trembled as she wrapped it carefully in a soft cloth. The warmth from the stone seeped into her fingers, comforting yet dangerous. For the first time, she understood the true cost of the eye. It wanted her memories. Ilara hugged her knees to her chest, staring at the wooden walls of the cottage. The shadows outside the window seemed to stretch closer, moving with the wind. She could feel the forests whisper in her ears. Suddenly, there was a soft knock at the door. Elara froze. No one came to her house at night. A draught of cold air swept through the room as she approached. On the floor, a small envelope lay, sealed with red wax. The seal bore the same eye-shaped symbol she had seen carved on the box in the forest. Her hands shook as she picked it up. The letter inside read, "The eye remembers what you forget. Leave it at the old bridge before sunrise." Her heart pounded. Someone was watching. Someone knew. Elara sat down again, clutching the necklace, reading and rereading the letter. She realized with a growing sense of dread that her life had changed forever. The necklace was alive. It was watching. It was waiting. And every vision would take more from her until she had nothing left but the stone itself. The night was colder than usual. Snow swirled around the small cottages of Valoria, and the moon was hidden behind heavy clouds. Elara sat by the fireplace, the necklace wrapped in soft cloth in her hands. Its dark stone pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat in the quiet room. Suddenly she heard it, a soft scraping sound against the window. Her heart jumped. She froze. The cottage was supposed to be empty. She slowly rose and moved toward the window. There, just beyond the frost-covered glass, was a shadow, tall, still, silent. It moved slightly, but it had no clear form. It was not human, yet it seemed alive. Elara. A whisper came, almost from inside her mind. She stepped back, clutching the necklace. The stone pulsed strongly now, as if warning her. The whisper came again. "Find the gate before they do." Elara's breath caught. She pressed herself against the wall, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Then, from the corner of the room, a sound, a slow, deliberate footstep, echoed across the wooden floor. Her eyes widened. Someone was inside the cottage. Suddenly the door handle rattled. Elara's heart pounded in her chest. Whoever it was, they knew she had the necklace. She backed away toward the small cupboard where she kept her herbs, still clutching the stone. Then a familiar voice called softly, "Elara, it's me." It was Rowan, the hunter from the village. Calm, steady, reliable. The man who had often helped her gather herbs in the forest. But why was he here, at midnight? Rowan stepped closer, keeping his eyes on the shadows outside. "I saw someone near your cottage tonight," he said. "A tall figure, moving too fast for me to stop. I think they were looking for this," he added, nodding toward the necklace. Elara's hands shook. How did you know?" Rowan paused. "Because I've been watching too, and because I know what it is." Elara's eyes narrowed. "What is it?" Rowan lowered his voice. "The necklace you carry. It's called the Eye of Selvarin. My father told me stories about it long ago. It can see everything. It chooses its bearer. And those who seek it will not stop until it is returned to the Order." Elara hugged the necklace to her chest. Fear and curiosity battled inside her. "The Order? Who are they?" Rowan's expression darkened. "They were a secret group centuries ago. Scholars, hunters, and sorcerers who wanted the eye for power. They failed, but some survived, and they are still searching." Before Elara could respond, a loud thud struck the outer wall. The cottage shook. Snow fell from the eaves. Another thud, stronger this time, came from the window. Rowan grabbed her arm. "We have to go, now." Elara's eyes widened. "But the cottage. It doesn't matter anymore." "They know you have it," Rowan said firmly. "Follow me and stay close." He opened the door and slipped into the night, snow crunching under his boots. Elara hesitated, then followed. Behind them, the shadows of the forest seemed to reach out, as if they were alive, moving toward the cottage. toward her, toward the necklace. Her pulse raced. The cold air burned her lungs, the whispers of the night pressed against her mind. And deep inside, she knew one terrifying truth. The Eye had chosen her. And now, the hunters were coming. Elara and Rowan ran through the snowy streets of Valoria, their breaths visible in the cold night air. Every step crunched loudly against the snow-covered ground, and the wind carried faint, whispering voices from the forest. Elara clutched the necklace tightly, its dark stone pulsing like a heartbeat against her chest. Rowan glanced over his shoulder. "We must leave the village before they find us. The Seekers are fast, and they can track the Eye." Elara's heart raced. "Seekers? What are they?" "They are hunters," Rowan said. "Humans once, centuries ago, twisted by the Eye's power. They serve the Order now, and their purpose is simple: retrieve the necklace at any cost." The forest loomed ahead, dark and silent. Trees stretched tall into the sky, their bare branches like skeletal hands. Rowan led her along a narrow path marked only by snow and footprints. Elara's mind raced. The visions from the necklace haunted her. She had already lost pieces of her memory, small, everyday things she could no longer recall. And now she realized the price would only grow if the Eye continued to show her more. Suddenly, a shadow shifted among the trees. A figure, taller than any man, its limbs twisting unnaturally as it moved. It paused, then vanished into the darkness. "Elara!" Rowan hissed, pulling her behind a tree. "They are here!" Elara pressed herself against the bark, trying to calm her shaking hands. The necklace pulsed stronger, warm and alive. She could feel it urging her forward, guiding her steps. Rowan spoke softly. "Listen to me carefully. The old bridge, it is the only place the Seekers cannot follow. You must leave the necklace there. Only then will it be safe. For a while." Elara's eyes widened. "The bridge? But that's miles away." Rowan nodded grimly. "We have no choice. We can run through the forest, stay off the main roads. If we are careful, we might reach it before sunrise." A soft crunch came from the snow behind them. The shadow was moving again, faster this time. Rowan drew a small knife, its blade glinting faintly in the moonlight. "Keep moving," he whispered. "Don't look back." Elara's boots sank into the snow with every step, her body heavy with fear and exhaustion. The cold burned her lungs and stung her cheeks, but the stone's warmth kept her going. Hours seemed to pass in a blur of trees, snow, and shadows. Finally, just as the first light of dawn touched the horizon, they saw it. The old stone bridge. Moss-covered and ancient, its arches spanned a narrow icy river. Elara slowed, staring at the bridge. The necklace pulsed stronger, as if acknowledging its destination. Rowan knelt beside her. "This is it. Place the necklace on the center of the bridge. The magic here will protect it. The Seekers cannot enter." Her hands trembled as she took the necklace. For a moment, doubt and fear gripped her. But the stone's warmth, its quiet insistence, gave her courage. She placed it carefully on the center of the bridge. The Eye glowed fiercely, a bright pulse that spread across the bridge. The river reflected the light in shimmering waves. From the forest the shadow approached, but stopped at the edge of the bridge, unable to cross. The creature hissed, twisting its form in frustration, then retreated slowly back into the trees. Elara exhaled, relief flooding her, but Rowan's eyes were dark with caution. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The Order never forgets. And now they know where you are." Elara looked down at the glowing stone, feeling both awe and dread. The necklace had chosen her, and their journey, full of danger, secrets, and memory lost, was only beginning. The night was silent, except for the rushing of the icy river beneath the old stone bridge. Elara and Rowan crouched behind a fallen tree a few meters from the bridge, catching their breath. The snow was deep, and each movement they made left sharp impressions in the powdery ground. Suddenly, a dark shadow rose from the edge of the forest. Its form was tall and twisted, limbs bending in unnatural ways. Its eyes, or what could have been eyes, glowed faintly red, piercing the darkness. Rowan grabbed Alara's arm. "Stay down! Don't make a sound!" The shadow moved closer, its steps silent on the snow. And then Alara realized something terrifying. The shadow was alive, but not human. Its movements were too smooth, too deliberate, too fast. "It's a seeker," Rowan whispered. "One of the Order's hunters. It can sense the eye. If it reaches the necklace..." Alara's hands shook. The necklace, placed carefully on the bridge, pulsed brighter. A soft warmth spread across her fingers, as if warning her. The seeker stopped at the edge of the bridge. Its head, or the shadow that resembled a head, turned slowly toward them. Then it hissed. The sound was like metal scraping against stone, echoing across the icy water. Rowan tightened his grip on his knife. "We cannot fight it," he said. "It's too strong, too fast. The only way to survive is to stay out of its reach." Alara watched, frozen, as the shadow writhed. Its form stretched, bending as though it were made of smoke and darkness. She noticed a faint glow in its chest, a small eye-shaped mark that mirrored the necklace's stone. "The eye. It's connected to it," she whispered. "Yes," Rowan said grimly. "All seekers are bound to the eye. They were once human like us. But they were cursed, twisted to serve the Order forever. They cannot cross this place. The bridge protects the necklace, but not forever." The seeker hissed again, twisting violently, its shadowy arms reaching toward the glowing stone. It could not cross the boundary, but it recoiled and slammed its limbs against the snow. Ice and snow sprayed into the air. Alara shivered. Why are they so strong?" Rowan exhaled slowly. "Because the Order is patient. They wait centuries for the eye to appear, and when it does, the seekers follow." The shadow lurched again, but the magic of the bridge held it back. It snarled, turned slowly, and melted back into the forest, leaving the snow trembling from its movements. Alara bent down, picking up the necklace carefully. Its pulse was steady, almost calm now. She felt the warmth flow through her, a mixture of comfort and danger. Rowan looked at her, his expression grave. "We have a short window. The Order will not rest. They will return with more seekers, and some will be even stronger." Alara nodded, understanding the weight of his words. She felt fear, but also determination. The necklace was hers now, for better or worse. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. Rowan's eyes scanned the forest. "Yes, and we must be ready. The journey ahead will test everything, our courage, our minds, and our memories." Alara held the eye close to her chest, feeling its pulse. It was alive, watching, waiting, and she knew the truth in her bones. They were no longer alone. The Order had begun its hunt. The morning sun barely pierced through the thick canopy of the forest as Alara and Rowan moved cautiously along the snow-laden path. Every step they took left deep prints, which seemed to glow faintly as if marking their passage for some unseen watcher. The necklace pulsed softly beneath Alara's coat, guiding her forward. Its warmth felt almost alive, comforting yet strangely heavy, as if it bore the weight of centuries. Rowan paused frequently, scanning the forest for any sign of movement. "We are not alone," he whispered. "The seekers may have retreated, but they are patient. They will follow, and when they do, they will not stop until the eye is returned." Alara shivered. She hugged the necklace tighter. The visions she had experienced haunted her mind: shadows, screaming figures, and the burning castle. She realized she could no longer trust her own memory. Every vision had taken something from her. Small things, like the taste of her favorite bread, the tune of a childhood song, and even the colour of the sky at sunset. Little pieces of her life had already disappeared. Hours passed in a blur of snow, trees, and silence. The forest seemed endless, and the air grew colder with each step. Rowan's boots sank into the snow, and his breath came in white clouds. He led Elara carefully, choosing paths that were hidden from the open roads and avoiding areas where they might be seen. At one point, Elara stumbled over a root buried beneath the snow. She fell to her knees, cursing softly. Rowan knelt beside her, steadying her. "You must keep your strength," he said firmly. "The eye is powerful, but it also drains. We cannot afford weakness." Elara nodded, swallowing hard. She forced herself to stand, even as her legs ached and her fingers turned numb. The stone on the necklace glowed brighter, urging her onward. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached a clearing. There it was, the old stone bridge. Covered in moss and ice, it spanned a narrow frozen river. Its arches were cracked and worn, but a strange aura surrounded it, as if it were a place of ancient power. Elara stopped, staring at the bridge in awe. "Is this the place?" she asked softly. Rowan nodded. "Yes, this is where the eye must be placed. It is the only location where the Seekers cannot cross. The magic here is older than the Order itself." Elara's hands shook as she lifted the necklace from beneath her coat. The stone pulsed strongly, warm against her fingers. She carefully placed it in the center of the bridge. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the stone glowed fiercely, sending ripples of light across the snow and reflecting in the frozen river below. From the edge of the forest, shadows stirred. A seeker emerged, tall and twisted, with limbs bending unnaturally. Its eyes, if they could be called eyes, glowed faintly. It moved toward the bridge, sensing the eye. But as it stepped closer, it halted. An invisible barrier, ancient and powerful, kept it from crossing. The seeker hissed, twisted its form in frustration, and then slowly retreated back into the trees. The forest fell silent once more. Elara exhaled, feeling a mix of relief and fear. The bridge had protected the eye, but Rowan's expression remained grim. "This is only temporary," he said. "The Order will return. They never forget. And now they know where the eye is. We must be ready for what comes next." Elara looked down at the glowing stone. It pulsed gently, alive and aware, as if acknowledging her presence. Her memories might be slipping away, but her determination remained. She whispered to herself, "I won't let them take it. Not now. Not ever." Rowan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Good. We will face them together. But the journey has only begun. The Order is patient and ruthless." The wind howled across the bridge, carrying the faint whispers of the past. The necklace pulsed once more, and Elara felt it watching, waiting, as if it knew the trials yet to come. The road ahead was dangerous, but for the first time, she felt a spark of courage. The eye had chosen her, and she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Elara and Rowan sat near the edge of the old stone bridge as the first rays of sunlight touched the snow-covered forest. The river beneath the bridge flowed quietly, its icy waters reflecting the early light. For a moment, it seemed that the world had paused, giving them a brief moment of peace. Elara looked at the glowing necklace, still resting at the center of the bridge. Its dark stone pulsed gently, alive with power, as if it were breathing. She could feel the warmth spreading through her hands and up her arms. Rowan, sitting beside her, spoke softly. "The eye has been lost for centuries. Few have known its location, and fewer have survived its power. But now, it is in your hands. Ilara's brow furrowed. Why me? Why now? Rowan sighed, his gaze distant. The eye chooses its bearer, always has, always will, and sometimes it chooses someone who can endure its burden, but that choice comes with a cost. Memories, moments, pieces of the soul. Every vision it shows takes something from you. Ilara's stomach twisted. She tried to recall the events of the past few days, but fragments of her memories were missing. Small details that she realized she had lost forever. She could not remember the taste of her favorite winter soup or the laughter of her friend Mira. Even simple moments, like the sound of the village bell ringing in the morning, were blurred. Rowan placed a hand on her shoulder. Centuries ago, the Order tried to use the eye for power. They wanted to see the future, control the world, and bend others to their will. But the eye cannot be controlled. Those who try are punished. Many of the Seekers you saw, they were once human, like us. But they were twisted by the eye's magic. Now they serve the Order forever, guarding it and hunting its bearer. Ilara shivered. The visions from the previous night came rushing back. The burning castle, the screaming woman, the man running through the forest. The Seeker she had seen approaching the bridge felt like a living nightmare. Then, what must I do? She asked, her voice trembling. At one point, Ilara stumbled over a root buried beneath the snow. She fell to her knees, cursing softly. Rowan knelt beside her, steadying her. You must keep your strength, he said firmly. The eye is powerful, but it also drains. We cannot afford weakness. Ilara nodded, swallowing hard. She forced herself to stand, even as her legs ached and her fingers turned numb. The stone on the necklace glowed brighter, urging her onward. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached a clearing. There it was, the old stone bridge. Covered in moss and ice, it spanned a narrow frozen river. Its arches were cracked and worn, but a strange aura surrounded it, as if it were a place of ancient power. Ilara stopped, staring at the bridge in awe. Is this the place? She asked softly. Rowan nodded. Yes, this is where the eye must be placed. It is the only location where the Seekers cannot cross. The magic here is older than the Order itself. Ilara's hands shook as she lifted the necklace from beneath her coat. The stone pulsed strongly, warm against her fingers. She carefully placed it in the center of the bridge. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the stone glowed fiercely, sending ripples of light across the snow and reflecting in the frozen river below. From the edge of the forest, shadows stirred. A Seeker emerged, tall and twisted, with limbs bending unnaturally. Its eyes, if they could be called eyes, glowed faintly. It moved toward the bridge, sensing the eye. But as it stepped closer, it halted. An invisible barrier, ancient and powerful, kept it from crossing. The Seeker hissed, twisted its form in frustration, and then slowly retreated back into the trees. The forest fell silent once more. Ilara exhaled, feeling a mix of relief and fear. The bridge had protected the eye, but Rowan's expression remained grim. This is only temporary, he said. The Order will return. They never forget. And now they know where the eye is. We must be ready for what comes next. Ilara looked down at the glowing stone. It pulsed gently, alive and aware, as if acknowledging her presence. Her memories might be slipping away, but her determination remained. She whispered to herself, I won't let them take it. Not now. Not ever. Rowan placed a hand on her shoulder. Good. We will face them together. But the journey has only begun. The Order is patient and ruthless. The wind howled across the bridge, carrying the faint whispers of the past. The necklace pulsed once more, and Ilara felt it watching, waiting. as if it knew the trials yet to come. The road ahead was dangerous, but for the first time, she felt a spark of courage. The Eye had chosen her, and she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Elara and Rowan sat near the edge of the old stone bridge as the first rays of sunlight touched the snow-covered forest. The river beneath the bridge flowed quietly, its icy waters reflecting the early light. For a moment, it seemed that the world had paused, giving them a brief moment of peace. Elara looked at the glowing necklace, still resting at the center of the bridge. Its dark stone pulsed gently, alive with power, as if it were breathing. She could feel the warmth spreading through her hands and up her arms. Rowan, sitting beside her, spoke softly. The Eye has been lost for centuries. Few have known its location, and fewer have survived its power. But now, it is in your hands. Elara's brow furrowed. Why me? Why now? Rowan sighed, his gaze distant. The Eye chooses its bearer, always has, always will, and sometimes it chooses someone who can endure its burden, but that choice comes with a cost. Memories, moments, pieces of the soul. Every vision it shows takes something from you. Elara's stomach twisted. She tried to recall the events of the past few days, but fragments of her memories were missing. Small details that she realized she had lost forever. She could not remember the taste of her favorite winter soup or the laughter of her friend Mira. Even simple moments, like the sound of the village bell ringing in the morning, were blurred. Rowan placed a hand on her shoulder. Centuries ago, the Order tried to use the Eye for power. They wanted to see the future, control the world, and bend others to their will. But the Eye cannot be controlled. Those who try are punished. Many of the Seekers you saw, they were once human, like us. But they were twisted by the Eye's magic. Now they serve the Order forever, guarding it and hunting its bearer. Elara shivered. The visions from the previous night came rushing back. The burning castle, the screaming woman, the man running through the forest. The Seeker she had seen approaching the bridge felt like a living nightmare. Then, what must I do? She asked, her voice trembling. You must learn its origin, Rowan said. The Eye was created to reveal the truth, to protect knowledge that should not be lost. But its magic is tied to memory. If you do not understand it, you will lose yourself, and the Order will not stop until they reclaim it. Elara nodded slowly. She looked down at the necklace. The dark stone pulsed softly, as if acknowledging her words. She realized that her journey was only beginning. She had survived the forest, the shadows, and the first Seeker, but the truth of the Eye and the Order was still hidden. Rowan stood and extended a hand to her. We must move. The Order will send more Seekers soon. We cannot stay here. But there is a place, a library, hidden deep in the mountains. Ancient scrolls and books, there may tell us the full story of the Eye and how to protect it. Elara took his hand, feeling the warmth of his grip. Her fear was still present, but so was a growing determination. She had already lost pieces of her past, but she refused to lose her future. As they prepared to leave, a cold wind swept across the bridge. The whispers of the past seemed to rise from the river below, carrying voices of those who had come before. The necklace pulsed strongly, almost like a heartbeat. Elara whispered to herself, I will uncover the truth. I will not let the Order win. I will save what remains of my memories. Rowan nodded, his eyes scanning the forest. And we will do it together. But remember, Elara, the Eye is always watching. It sees more than we do. It remembers everything, and it is patient. The sun rose higher, illuminating the bridge and the path ahead. The forest seemed less threatening in the daylight, but Elara knew that danger lurked just beyond the trees. She felt the weight of the necklace in her hands, and with it, the responsibility of the centuries of magic it carried. For the first time, she felt the true weight of the journey ahead, and she knew that the secrets of the past were only the beginning of the trials yet to come. Elara and Rowan left the old stone bridge behind, moving cautiously through the snow-covered forest. The first light of dawn painted the trees with a soft golden hue, but the cold air bit at their faces, and the forest remained ominously silent. Every rustle of branches, every crunch of snow beneath their boots made Elara's heart race. The necklace hung beneath her coat, pulsing with a quiet warmth. It had been quiet since they left the bridge, but she could feel its presence constantly, like a heartbeat against her chest. Every step reminded her that the eye was alive, aware, and watching her. Rowan glanced at her. "We must reach the mountains before nightfall. There is an ancient library hidden there, in the cliffs beyond the northern ridge. The scrolls there contain knowledge of the eye, its origin, its power, and its weaknesses." Elara nodded, her determination growing. "And the Seekers?" she asked quietly. "They will follow," Rowan said grimly. "The Order never forgets. But the mountains will give us time. The terrain is difficult, and the Seekers are less familiar with it. We may gain an advantage, even if only for a short while." As they walked, the forest around them seemed to shift. Shadows moved where there should have been none, and the whispering wind carried faint echoes of voices long forgotten. The visions of the eye still haunted her, burning castles, twisted figures, shadowy creatures pursuing her through the dark. Elara felt a pang of loss. Pieces of her life had already vanished, the taste of familiar foods, the memory of her mother's laughter, even the simple joy of walking through the village square. Each vision from the necklace had taken something from her, and she feared the cost of the knowledge they were about to seek. Rowan noticed her hesitation. "The eye is dangerous," he said, "but knowledge is more dangerous still. We must learn its secrets to protect ourselves and to prevent the Order from gaining more power." The path grew steeper as they approached the mountains. Jagged rocks protruded from the snow, and icy streams cut across their route. Elara slipped several times, but Rowan's hand was always there to steady her. The bond between them strengthened with every step. Trust, determination, and shared fear became their armor. By late afternoon, they reached a narrow cliffside path that wound toward the hidden library. The entrance was concealed by a curtain of icicles and a dense thicket, almost invisible to anyone who did not know it was there. Rowan pushed aside the branches carefully, revealing a small stone door engraved with ancient symbols. "This is it," he said. "The library of the first keepers. It has not been touched by outsiders for centuries. Here we may finally find the truth of the eye." Elara's hands shook as she touched the stone door. The necklace pulsed in response, brighter this time, as if sensing that they were near something important. The warmth spread through her chest, filling her with both awe and fear. As they stepped inside, the air grew warmer and filled with the scent of old parchment. Shelves carved from stone lined the walls, filled with scrolls, leather-bound tomes, and strange artifacts from centuries past. Dust danced in the sunlight that filtered through cracks in the ceiling. Elara could feel the weight of history pressing down on her. Each scroll, each book, seemed to hum with the magic of the keepers who had created the eye. Her pulse quickened. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "The journey, the visions, the memories lost. It's all part of something much bigger." Rowan nodded. "And we must be careful. The Order will not wait. Every hour we spend here is precious. We must learn, and we must protect the eye." Elara looked down at the necklace. Its pulse was steady now, almost calm. Yet beneath the surface, she could feel its immense power waiting to awaken. The eye had chosen her, and there was no turning back. Together, they stepped deeper into the library, ready to uncover the secrets that had been hidden for centuries. Outside, the wind howled through the mountains, carrying the faintest whispers of the seekers, reminding them that danger was never far behind. And so, the journey continued, full of danger, magic, and the haunting mystery of the Eye of Selvarin. The path ahead was uncertain, but Ilara's courage burned brighter than the coldest winter night. She knew one truth with certainty: the Eye had chosen her, and she would face whatever came next.